All right, so welcome back again. If you just joined us, this is the AM show, and thanks for allowing us to be part of your morning. It's time for us to look into what the papers are reporting this morning. It's the news review segment of the show. I have with me the Daily Graphic newspaper. I have the Daily Guide as well. We have the Business Finder and the Business Analyst. And today, I'm going to do this with lawyer Kweku Paintsil, who just joined us on Zoom. Lawyer, I'm so grateful that you could join us. Good morning to you. Hope all is well.
Good morning. Everything is well.
Great, super, yeah. Anyway, once we're having this conversation a day after the Supreme Court ruling on the Assin North MP's case. Let me take your viewpoint on that. What's your reaction to that particular development?
Well, it didn't come as any surprise to me, and I've always had the view that the constitutional provision that says that a person who holds dual nationality or who holds allegiance to a country, to Ghana and to some other country, and whom the Constitution says is not qualified to occupy certain offices, including that of the Member of Parliament, was breached by Paintsil, and therefore the conclusions reached yesterday by the Supreme Court, is consistent with what the constitutional provision says, and the orders made by the Supreme Court is also in order insofar as the Clerk of Parliament has been ordered to delete the name and all references to Paintsil, not to be recognized as an MP for any purposes. So he cannot be an ex-MP. That's the way it goes. It's as simple as that. So personally, I believe I'm in accord with what the Supreme Court reached, the conclusion the Supreme Court reached.
So what it means is that he never was an MP?
Never ever was. And also what it also means is
okay, all right. So that's a lawyer, the Kweku Paintsil. He is giving his.
You know.
Yeah.
That's what it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll delve into this particular matter into details later on. But when I read the ruling or when I heard it, the question that came to my mind was, okay, so there's going to be a by-election. Is he eligible?
Actually,
is he eligible to contest in that by-election?
Yes, in between that time and now, I don't know as a matter of fact, but if he has in between the time renounced his citizenship, I understand of Canada, then his entirety is qualified. Nothing that has happened can disqualify him. So that's as simple as that. In other words, this is not a criminal offense as yet. There are certain offices that you cannot occupy, including that of a member of parliament if you've been convicted for criminal offenses. But this is not a criminal offense. This is a civil action. So that's the way it goes. So he qualifies.
Okay. But if this is like the Adamu Sakande case, wouldn't there be a criminal aspect to it?
It is like Adamu Sakande case, but the Attorney General is yet to proceed on that tangent. The first part of this case, as far as I know, is that the Attorney General has proceeded on the basis, or rather, his own constituent is the one who sued him. Then the position is also held by Attorney General that he ought not to have been a member of parliament. But I know as a matter of fact that criminal charges have been preferred against him. And in law, there's a presumption of innocence for anyone who's in charge of a criminal offense. So, as we speak, it will be presumptuous or even unfair for anybody to make references to him in that regard or in that direction. So, for now, he qualifies to stand. But the real issue that's going to arise is if he starts again and the Attorney General proceeds with his prosecution, then it's going to be a little dicey. And I will put it this way, that for as long as the prosecution continues, assuming for the sake of our discussion that he offers himself to stand for the election, and for any reason he wins, and then he's still a member of parliament in the subsequent.
All right, so you're watching the AM show. It's the news review segment of the show. We are on with lawyer Kweku Paintsil, who is helping us out this morning. Now, if you watch, okay, so lawyer, you're back. So wrap up what you're saying, and then we can move on.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that yes, he can stand, but there's a prospect or possibility that he may be prosecuted for the criminal aspect of what has happened. The same set of facts can give rise to both civil and criminal proceedings.
Okay, now on the front page of the Daily Graphic, it says Asante launches 2023 Green Ghana Day. It comes with a beautiful picture of him smiling alongside the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapo there. It happened in Kumasi. Okay. Now, IMF approves Ghana's bailout. Kweku Paintsil, of course, we were just discussing that a short while ago. Kweku Paintsil, no more an MP. Supreme Court orders Assin North seat vacant. And High Court unveils an ask for Yantechi investigative journalists to testify in open court. And one good news there, Latif Abubakar's Spanish Embassy premiere Life is a Dream, play on May 27. Okay. Now, if you look at page 3, it says, okay, so let me begin from the front page about the IMF program. Now, after 10 months of discussions and negotiations, Ghana has finally received approval from the Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, for a 3-year budget support program aimed at restoring macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. The Extended Credit Facility, ECF, which would see the country receive $3 billion, is also expected to support structural reforms and help its economic recovery after 2 years of economic challenges. In a statement after the Executive Board approval, the IMF Managing Director, Kristalina Georgieva, said the approval, quote, will enable an immediate disbursement to Ghana equivalent to SDR 451.4 million, about $600 million. The statement said the program would also help Ghana to overcome immediate policy and financing challenges, including through its catalytic effect in mobilizing external financing from development partners and providing a framework for the successful completion of the ongoing debt restructuring. Quote, fiscal consolidation is a core element of the program. A substantial and front-loaded fiscal adjustment has started with the 2023 budget. Enhanced revenue and streamlined expenditure will be combined with policies to protect vulnerable households and create room for higher social and development spending in the medium term, unquote. The statement added. The Finance Minister, Ken Oforiatta, and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana have been in Washington, D.C., in the United States since last week with a delegation for meeting towards the presentation of the program for approval. The approval yesterday was widely received within the business and investor community with optimism for stability and modest growth in the medium term. Lawyer, so this was something that we've all been waiting for. We know how difficult the economy has been over the past 10 months and above. What do you make of this news that the IMF has finally agreed to grant Ghana some $3 billion liquidity support?
I'll put it this way. You know, in our student days, we had a slogan. We said, any form of loan. We were agitating in those days of education reforms that any form of legal fee or any form of school fees was not acceptable, because a loan is a loan, and a loan will have to be repaid whether in the short, medium, or in the long term. Mm-hmm. We are in a crisis in which we find ourselves because of excessive borrowing. So personally, I'm not an economist, but When you borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and it has created a crisis, and you needed a bigger loan in order to solve that crisis, obviously, it may require a kind of fundamental changes to policies and whatever. I don't know exactly how this government is going to manage it, but my problem is the fact that we are where we are because of the very thing we are doing. So, I mean, in fairness, it may give us some temporary relief, but it's all about the long run. I mean, that is my problem with what's going on now. And when I begin to contrast some of these matters, only this I was reflecting that part of the reason the Ghana government has given, for instance, for where we find ourselves is what do you call it? This health crisis. What's the name?
COVID-19.
Yeah, and look, why can I tell myself that Ukraine has been in a war with Russia from all that time to date, and yet it has a robust economy enough to supply the whole world with wheat on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, in spite of the war. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about in this country? Only today, in the news, Russia has agreed to renew that contract for, at the time of the war, the impression was that it was a stockpile of maize that they had. But that is not the real case. The real case is that they are producing on a daily basis, and that creates the need for that thing to be continued. So I'm not too enthused. No, am I very, very much relieved by the fact that economists may know better than I do. But I'm very pessimistic that this loan will suddenly solve any problem of ours. Somebody who borrows so much couldn't show much, and we have these excuses to justify or to rationalize our present indebtedness. I will have a difficulty believing that with a fresh injection of loan, somehow we're going to wake up the next day and all our problems will be solved. I don't believe it. So it's, with due respect, as from my perspective, it's a hype.
But how do you expect government to behave now that we've had this bailout to try and restore the sort of confidence our economy had before these times?
See, let's put it this way. In the 80s, my understanding of the economics of the 80s, of the structural adjustment programs, and so forth and so on, reduce it to simple man's language. It is cut your coat according to your size. Spend money according to what you have. Do what you can do from the resources that you have. And the basic problem, one of the major problems of our present economy is that government is overspending everything, everywhere is overspending. And therefore, it is fiscal measures that would ensure that government is able to cut the size of its spending. It is a major source of concern for even the economists, for everybody. That is one area. That is one area. Of course, issues about GRA, that is to say that they generate all the revenue. They have increased and increased and increased. They are making much progress according to their own figures. And what I would say is that even though there's the possibility that they can grow, our revenue generation, if everything that's coming is going down the drain, I'm sorry, I'm using drain only in a context, not necessary to say it's being wasted, but it appears to me that there's a major problem with spending in this country. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
Now, according to government sources, this program is backed by a post-COVID-19 program for economic growth. They call it PCPEG, which is the government's blueprint to address the economic challenges, restore macroeconomic stability, bring debt to sustainable levels in the medium term, support structural reforms, promote growth, and ensure that the poor and vulnerable are protected. Now, there's been issues about whether or not some of these social interventions will suffer, like school feeding program, like free senior high school and all of that. As a Ghanaian, having, gone through the challenges we have, and now IMF coming on board to help us out, in terms of social investment, is it your thinking that government should review some of these social investment, or we should let it be the way they are?
Indeed, and in fact, I personally believe in government social intervention. constitution. I personally believe, and I can give you this assurance that, but for the fact that government intervened in that way, the same money will be used for other purposes which will not have generated anything for us. I've been in some discussion, closed door discussion, where certain information was shared to the effect that the total of government expenditure in the school feeding program does not match up to the debt that get from the energy. And I call it facts for facts. In other words, if we can sign energy generation projects for this country, I'm talking about 2 or 3 energy projects that the NDC government entered into, for which Ghana was saddled with all kinds of liability, whether we use the power or we do not use it, which Ghana is presently, what do you call it, servicing. So that, I mean, when we generate and when we project the issue, it's a government to government kind of thing. So me personally, I believe that this government must do the social intervention project, because those projects, they generate, I mean, the results of these projects are a long-term thing. And as a third world country, I mean, whatever name we want to call our economy, people don't believe we stay third world, but I believe that we stay in the third world. It is important that the government funding of education, and even better, you remember that President Kufuor's time, there was this type of maternity and all of them. It improves healthcare and so forth and so on. It's all about managing those resources. In other words, those economic, I mean, to enable the government, what do you call it? Another government, I'm talking management team, to be able to monitor this closely to avoid the waste and other, I don't know how. That is what I'm looking at. That government must rather try and monitor so that we can reduce the wastage in the area. So that's the way I want to put it. In other words, I subscribe to these social interventionist policies, only that it must be monitored to weed out the waste. That's the way I want to put it.
Okay, all right.
I was a little disturbed because my earpiece got.
Okay, all right then. Now, so that's on the IMF. We expect more, but we'll delve deeper into this particular matter later on. But lawyer is in support of social interventions that government do implement. He believes that that really helps a lot more people, and we have to look at the long-term impact of all of these social interventions, not the short and medium term. Great to be back. Let's look at the Green Ghana Day. Now, Assin has launched this program in Kumasi for this year, and he has charged institutions to take responsibility for their role in the continuous degradation of the environment. He said both the chieftaincy and government institutions could not claim innocence of activities of illegal miners within their respective jurisdictions. Consequently, the Assin has pledged to deal with chiefs who allow illegal mining to fester in their traditional areas without taking any action. He expressed concerns over the level of land degradation through illegal mining at places such as Amansie and Manso in Kwanta. Quote, if you sit there and say that you don't know what is happening, then you are not fit to be a chief, unquote, as Assin added. He urged all citizens to support the government to deal with the menace of illegal mining, which was fast degrading the country's land and forest reserves, adding that, quote, I will have to start with my chiefs while the government also deals with the others. We all have to take matters seriously to deal with the menace, unquote. So lawyer, first of all, we've tried to deal with this illegal mining menace for as long as I can remember. We've not really made gains. What do you think is lacking in our fight against illegal mining, and what do you expect to change in the fight such that it will enable us to reap the intended benefit thereof?
What do you call it? Or whatever company. Their motto is just do it. Just do it. We have talked and talked and talked, produced papers and papers, held seminars and conferences and symposiums and all of that on
So that lawyer, Kweku Paintsil, we're still on with him. Unfortunately, there are some challenges with his audio, but we'll rectify it so that we can have a very smooth discussion with him on the news review segment. Join us on social media. Leave your comment there, and would gladly share that with the rest of our viewers. Just ensure that your comment is devoid of insult. That would enable me share that with the rest of my viewers, because I respect my viewers such that I don't want them to hear any insulting words. So ensure that your comment is devoid of insult. Now, the Asante commended the government for initiating the tree planting project to reclaim degraded land, especially mining and illegal logging, including fighting climate change. He said even before the introduction of the project in 2021, he had initiated a program in 2019 to plant 2.5 million trees around the Bosomchi Lake because, quote, I know the importance of trees in the protection of water bodies, unquote. Dasantene said aside from its health benefit, the forest also contributed significantly to the economic development of the country. And now that there is a chance for us to exchange our carbon cover for revenue, this is one area government should be committed to, because it's one way we can generate revenue from. All we need to do is to ensure the protection of our forest cover, plant more trees. But what audit have we done into the ones that we've planted before? Are we able to account for how many of them have even matured or are growing? Or we are just planting without taking any audit? I mean, this is something that we need to look at. That since we started, it's a good, fantastic project, fantastic initiative. But we shouldn't just be interested in pumping money into planting trees without taking, audit of how many. I know government has tried to do some audit of a sort of what we've done, but how many from the audit do we know did well, and how many do we know didn't do well? These are things that should come with the project. Once we launch it every year, we should be able to account for what we've done in the past. That will give impetus to anybody to then say that, well, it's a good thing we need to do. It is really a good thing, but are we reaping the benefit? Are we ensuring that the monies we pump into it, we are getting the, the benefit, from this project? Because since we started, do we know how many trees we've planted? Do we know how many are doing well? Do you know which didn't do well? Do we know the factors that contributed to the ones that didn't do well to be in that particular state? What corrective measures are we implementing to ensure that we don't get a lot of these trees going off? Lawyer, welcome back again. You were commenting on the fight against illegal mining and what you think has to change about this fight to help us ensure that we derive the needed benefit.
The only thing is the fortitude to continue with it. And let me tell you what, my perspective about this whole business of this balancing is that we have a whole Ghana army. With due respect to the army, we are not in a war with another country. The institution, the army as an institution, I believe they were well past from the word go, to be in charge of this monitoring, taking out, flushing out all of these people. These are ordinary civilians who are engaged in this activity. And if we have a whole Ghana army, and we have to conclude that the Ghana army cannot take care of civilians who are hiding in bushes and causing menace, and these things are things they do in broad daylight. Please, begin to consider the situation in the Burkina Faso where people are taking up arms. Government cannot control them. We are taking ordinary civilians, and it's a national state. And therefore, I don't believe we have any real excuse. Let somebody from the Ghana army tell us why they cannot flush out these people. What about if we're invaded in this country? Our own citizens taking up, bulldozers and whatever in the bushes. Listen, the understanding we have is that the politicians themselves, the chiefs themselves, the very people who are supposed to be, because it's like asking the cat to watch over the mouse or the fish or whatever it is. That is the way it is. The cats themselves are supervising the fishes, and that explains why we can't have a result. And please, unless we begin to call names, proper names, begin to call out people, everything that we are doing in this country is a joke. It's a big joke. All these stuff, with due respect, this is not the first time that I've heard that Santini make these remarks. That Santini know all the chiefs under him. It's not only that Santini spread it to all the regions, call all the major chiefs, call all the paramount chiefs. Nobody in this country can say they do not know. They just have to stand their feet. And it is not like we lack the executive power to go behind or rather to go ahead of these things. I believe that all our chiefs and our politicians have set us up as a country, and they are making fun of us. That is my clear view of it. And I will repeat and I will end this part particularly by saying that just do it. Everything that they have said, they must do it. It's very simple. I can't even understand. It's a joke. This balancing is a big joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. When Dr. What do you call it? Doctor who prepared this 21-page report or whatever. Now he's being called names. Now we are being told that something that has been there for 2 years, it's now that they are going to investigate. Now we are being told that the expressions of whatever in that report are his personal views. Come on, why are we talking about personal views? What if the man sets up a committee and the whole Professor Dr. People Watson has been put in charge, has been frustrated and has virtually resigned and has written a report? We are being told that his personal views. What does that mean? How the news express therein, if they are personal views, and so what? Is it not reflecting the situation on the ground? What are the people that he has called out? Please, it's a joke. I'm telling you that in government decides that today, the same Ghana army that we are paying with tax resources, that goes to assignment to beat ordinary civilians. They go and beat civilians because one of their time or 10 is killed. It's a circumstance they don't understand. So they go and beat a whole country. Come on. They don't have Ghana army to beat us. When they can't go into the bushes, please. I mean, I'll get very incensed whenever this issue comes up. But it's a fair. Let somebody also say that these are my personal views. I'm a Ghanaian, and it says individuals like us. I mean, they say the voice of the people is the voice of God. Vox populi, vox Dei. And if people, government decides that because what the people what he said was his personal view, so it does not matter. Is that what we have to believe?
Okay. All right. Now, let's do the Daily Guide newspaper now. ADB agricultural sector loans hit over 1 billion Ghana cedis. Students more dynamic. Mampohene Lord's government. SC boot out Boga MP from Parliament. IMF board approves 3 billion bailout. Yantichi on masks and us in court. Now let's look at page 6. It says the Agricultural Development Bank's agricultural sector loan portfolio has hit over 1 billion cedis, says the managing director Alhaji Alhassan Yakubu Tali. The amount excludes non-funded facilities such as letters of credit and guarantees granted for the purchase of agricultural input, machinery, equipment and raw materials. The huge amount of investment over the past few years is part of strategy to refocus the bank on its original mandate to provide financial intermediation to the agricultural sector. The managing director disclosed this on Thursday, May 11, when he paid a courtesy call on the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Achampon, to congratulate him on his appointment. Due to many challenges, the increasing level of risk in the agricultural sector, many financial institutions, including banks, usually shy away from investing in the sector. Alhaji Yakubu Tali, however, stated that for ADB, these challenges present enormous opportunities that the bank will continue to leverage. You've been around for a very long time. We know how the agricultural sector is. We know the potential in there. We have not really injected the sort of investment we need. But what do you make of what ADB is saying, that they are now investing more into the sector? What are your expectations of such a bank, which was initially set up to look at investing into the sector?
I think they are satisfying their core mandate. They are doing what they are supposed to do. I mean, we respect there are certain things when some people do. I will not even think they are to be congratulated, because if I set up to do a particular thing we're doing, we may be happy, but of course that is the mandate. But let me put it this way. My real problem, I mean, as a lawyer with, some flirtation with these banks regarding their loan portfolios. The major problem about loans in Ghana, which the bankers will admit, is that Ghana is among one of the highest, defaulters, rate of defaulters in Africa. Ghana is the only country people take loans. And believe me, since IDB is not a government bank, more or less, people go for this loan. And they think that this is government money, and if we do not pay, it's cool with that. So the rate of payment, or the rate at which people give the obligations to the bank is so poor, and that is what eventually affects the ability of our banks to give out these loans. And even in terms of recovery of these loans, even when these people refuse, you go to our court. That explains why the fast track court came in. That explains why the commercial court came in. And I personally do not believe that it has made much improvement to the situation. So we thank IDB for doing what they are supposed to be doing, but somebody may be looking over his shoulder to see the rate at which these loans were secured, their repayment obligation was secured, and the effectiveness of whatever scheme or measures that they will have to recover these loans when they have to be recovered. That is the major issue for the future over the next 4 or 5 years. That is what they must be looking at. And I want to believe that they've got enough, measures in place to ensure that these loans, when they are recovered, that's the only way that they can increase the portfolio. So we thank them for having done what they are supposed to do. That is my own view of the matter.
Okay, but as a lawyer, what would draw you to the agricultural sector? What kind of policy intervention do you think, if government implement, would probably give you the impetus to say, okay, let me go and invest into this sector, really?
No, of course, the main issue is the availability of, capital, if I may put it. The main issue with our agricultural sector in Ghana, much as I know, because the kind of petty farming that our fathers and our grandfathers did is not what will project the country beyond the kind of problems that we find ourselves in. But when it comes to commercial farming, ideas, for instance, have been floated about funding fresh graduates from the university to be able to go into the commercial sector, that is to say, commercial farming and so forth. So that's the first issue. And beyond the bank, indeed, none of the banks, it's not possible that you go to any of these banks, they give you a loan to get farm. And the real danger, a lot of people, I've had clients who said they want to go for a loan to be able to do farming. The prospects are bleak even when you're taking a loan, because all the loans that are given out such commercial rates of interest that do not really, will not be able, even in the mid-term, to be able to sustain any serious farming. Because currently, the rate of interest on commercial loans is in the region of 30% and plus. So what it means is that if you go and take 100,000 cedis today, and we're already talking about the simple rate of interest. You go and take a loan of 100,000 cedis today, we're talking about, at the very minimum, paying 30,000 cedis on it for each year. And if you've taken a loan, let's say for 3 years, giving all kinds of projections, your rate of what you call servicing that loan is quite huge. And you know, and the kind of things that we do with agricultural farming in this country, they don't really generate such revenue in the short term, and so forth and so on. So that's the very first thing that I would say, and that is the very thing that has been done. Besides, the other thing of packaging, exporting, and so forth and so on, is what we have not done very well in the past. Because how to package these goods to make them attractive to market outside Ghana is the main thing. And even how these products eventually can, some of them don't have to go in the raw forms that we have and so forth and so on. And that is, I think, the next level that our farmers must be assisted. I only use assisted because if we identify it as a national issue, there is a level and extent to which Ghana government can intervene in packaging these goods for outside market. Because, when you go outside, the competition is so stiff, that, you just don't go and put something there and expect that it will be attractive to anybody. Obviously, marketing, all of those things, these are elementary things, but we have not even been able to really overcome those issues. So now we recognize national issues. I believe, I may not know exactly the situation on the ground, but I believe that the Ministry of Agriculture has a fair idea. Association of Ghana Industries, they have a fair idea. It's very possible that they are doing things that I do not know. And those are the areas of concern, as far as I know it.
Okay. Let's do the business analyst now. And on the front page of the business analyst, it says ADB to deepen collaborations with MOFA for agri sector growth. Court gives Atuasian grace period to settle restitution money. IMF board approves 3 billion ECF for Ghana. Will reduce fares if price of spare parts go down. Let's do just a story from this paper. Now, former Chief Executive Officer of defunct Capital Bank, Atuasian, has been given a grace period up to July 4 to redeem his financial obligations under a plea deal he entered with the state. The Attorney General was expected to move an application on whether Atuasian should be jailed for not paying 20 million cedis he was expected to pay by April 28, 2023. But before the state could do that, the presiding judge, Justice Eric Chebafo, noted that he is inclined to adjourn the case considering some claims in the convict's affidavit in opposition. According to the judge, Atuasian has outlined how he plans to liquidate some properties to raise over $300,000 to settle the amount. The state, which was not opposed to the stance of the judge, only notified the court that the amount promised is not substantial to settle the outstanding amount of 55 million cedis. Well, lawyer, this lies in your bosom. Why are we having this up and down when the court gave judgment that Atuasian is supposed to pay this amount or, face prison sentence? Why is it that anytime the court has to rule on it, then he's giving, the benefit of the doubt?
Well, I agree with the judge. Please, let me put it this way. Atuasian is just one of several people who run financial institutions that ended up in failure, compelling the Ghana government to step in by appointing a receiver, using taxpayers' money to pay, their customers. Question number one, where are the others? Atuasian is just one. It's our taxpayers' money that have been used to bail out these people. And please, I'll tell you this one, that for those who know those who were in that sector of our economy, who run this, for people as citizens as customers, but we need the money as a country. And for me, whatever the court will do to ensure that eventually we get the money, that will be better than a jail term for him to go and say, yes, it's a separate. But I'm telling you that let's look at the list of all the kind of inquiries that we submitted in the country, the politicians, the ordinary citizens, all the money that they have stolen. There is a scheme by which this money will be retrieved in lieu of prison sentence. That will be better off. Our prisons are already overcrowded. That's a fact. And when they go in there, fair enough, they get a punishment. But what do we get? That we end up punishing our own people, and that is a satisfaction. I am not saying by any means that criminals ought not to be punished. No. That any scheme that will ensure that the government will retrieve every fund, every penny, every city that somebody has illegally acquired, especially from the collapse of the banking system. Because we are all looking forward to what the government has in place after the government did the bailout. Or whatever, it's only one of the several people. So I want a scheme. People who are pressure to go to prison, we may go to prison, but let's look at.
Okay.
For me, let me tell you, my friend, if government was to give it, even the court was to give it, even another 1 year to be able to pay the money,
okay.
I think to be wiser than to be in prison. You put him in prison and what? But let us see efforts by the same government, the same attorney general, the same receiver. Let us hear what actually they have
okay.
to enable us to retrieve all these other funds.
Okay, lawyer.
That's the way I'm looking at the issue.
Lawyer Kweku Paintsil, I'm grateful for you this morning for joining us on the news review. This segment was brought to us by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and they are undertaking free prostate screening and fertility screening. Pass by any of their branches and get screened for free. They have one at Spintex, one in Tadi, that's Takradia at the Anaje Estate, Tesiama, Techiman Hanswa. To do your best to pass by any branch of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic and get screened. Well, sports is up next.